Greetings, men and gentle ladies. I'm the man with the inside voice to end all inside voices, Mr. Anony Paparade, or just Anony for short. And I'm here today to discuss an interesting fact about Riya in relation to both Season 2 and All Stars, which I'm still never gonna be able to talk about properly. Anyway, Riya's design for All Stars was revealed a while ago alongside a radioactive boy toy, Eric Carmen, and a bunch of other people I'm not gonna focus on because this video might be long enough as is. The thing about Riya's redesign, besides the fact that it's gorgeous, is that her expression in the reveal poster gives off bitterness slash god diva vibes, when the last time we saw her she seemed to be going through a redemption arc with Con. However, I decided to look back at the scenes leading up to said moment in question, and I don't think Riya was prepping for a redemption arc at all. At least, not as a first option. To properly explain myself, we first need to look in depth at the events that led to her tearful remorse with Connor. Now, Ria's villain arc begins during episode 9 when Carol tries to corrupt from into a more bitterness mindset, but it only really develops and turns into the real deal during episode 10, so we'll start from the latter. Episode 10 sees Rhea join forces with Aiden, James, and Rosa Maria in order to take out Hunter once and for all. His groupies are gone and they have the strength in numbers. All they need to do to get rid of one of the stronger players left in the game is make sure he doesn't gain immunity and vote exclusively for him, and boom, problem solved. Unfortunately for everyone, Rosa Maria's good nature causes her to tell Hunter about the plan, which not only throws the group in disarray, but ends with Hunter gaining immunity yet again. This betrayal, at least in Ria's eyes, convinces her to pin Rosa Maria as the one who stole everyone's belongings later in the episode, and then steal her immunity total so she can't save herself during the elimination ceremony. And how does she find out? Why? Rhea bluntly tells her about it before the boss of losers takes her, a bonus that I believe is comparable to Rosa Maria telling Hunter about the ambush, but that's a video for another day. Cold never. Then, during episode 11, the first half has Rhea settled in the villain role by betraying Hunter and taking up the advantage for herself. This doesn't really matter much, it's during the second challenge that Rhea does her next truly villainous act. She takes James's phone, unlocks it somehow, and finds out about his original plan to use his relationship with Aiden in order to get more followers. Then, while she's sitting with the duo, Rhea reveals this to everyone, causing Aiden to get angry at James and break things up with him. We could argue all day over the idea that exposing someone using someone else as a way to get more followers on social media will make them out to be the villain, but the point is that Rhea did this to Sabotage and destabilize the main couple of the season. And if there's anything that this Disventure can likes to let us know, it's that if you mess with the main couple, you're a bad person and not a morally good individual. A morally complex game by doing some reprehensible stuff in order to get ahead. I mean, I'd never. And now we reach the meat and potatoes of this video, episodes 12 and 13. Before the finale proper begins, Rhea puts on some perfume and discusses how to remember some memories are made with Connor and North Maria and to a lesser extent Lake. Keep in mind these are the only ones she thinks about, not James or Aiden, not Carol, most definitely not you. Connor and Rosa, and to an extent Lake, are the only people she thinks about when it's her moment to think about what she's done and she regrets what she did. When the finale comes, Rhea still has allies in the game despite her villainous turn, and these include Allie, because of how she convinced her to help her alliance boat out Lake, Carol, who was sort of friendly with her during the snow episodes, I'm assuming this was for real, Connor, who hasn't watched the show in a while and still thinks she's the same as before, and Tess, who's only there because she didn't care about the other two options. When the race proper begins, Rhea does everything in her power to sabotage Aiden and get him out of the race, which makes sense. Sabotaging his relationship with Aiden has left James in a funk that has severely impacted his gameplay, so he's not a threat, which means Aiden is the only thing realistically standing between her and $1 million. Connor does try to bring her back, but Rhea ignores him, which is as the climb to the skydiving challenge and not a people a moment from Rhea's arc. Rhea's so focused on winning at this point she drops her perfume to the ground, shattering it. Yes, it's weird she brought it with her and they leave it back at the cabin, but symbolically, this is the breaking point for Rhea and Connor's relationship, as Rhea snaps at him that he cannot understand how she feels now that she feels like she has to win it all or lose it all, but Connor mutters under his breath that she doesn't know what he's been through. Which also brings up a tragic part of the relationship. Yes, they won it early in the game, and they got along just fine, but they ultimately only ever got to know each other on a surface level. Connor only ever got to know Rhea as a struggling Bollywood actress, and Rhea only ever got to know Connor as one of the only orbital campers he could talk with. Not helping matters was Connor's elimination, which ensured they stayed only with the surface level knowledge from the finale saw Rhea's change to him. Then, once Rhea reaches the top, she tells Connor that she doesn't need him and that she's gonna do this point on her own, which is kinda true. Yes, Connor did give her a perfume as a parting gift, and he was one of her first friends, but after that, the perfume doesn't really play much of a role. The team switching advantage, the decision to vote out Blake, the betrayal of Rosa Maria, none of these decisions were affected by the perfume, they were all on Rhea. So, in a sense, she did get as far as she did on her own. With her perfume, and by extension Connor, not playing much of a role afterwards. It's still a terrible thing to say, of course, so Connor calls it quits yet again and leaves Rhea to complete the challenge by herself. Now we have the infamous scene where Rhea bottles Aiden and leaves him hanging on a cliff. Now, if you look back at the moment he drops, Rhea actually looks shocked at what just happened. Sure, she decides to dish him once the shock wears up, and it wears off disturbingly fast to boot, but the matter of the fact is that she was still surprised by what happened. Then, with Connor no longer helping her, Riya tries to complete the diving section of the final challenge by herself, which repeatedly goes over and wastes an unavoidable moment. The moment that Riya realizes that she can actually die. Prior to this point, Riya didn't have much reason to believe her, and by extension the other Emperor's lives were in danger. Sure, some of the challenges were more dangerous than others, but nobody was at risk of death. In fact, the Slasher's challenge was the closest one to give of a sense of danger, and it all turned out to be fake in the end, further giving Riya reason to believe nobody was in danger. Coupled with her ego growing 3 sizes bigger as a result of getting as far as she did, and getting control of the game, and she probably thought she was invincible. The diving section is the first time she's truly alone. At the time she realizes that no, she's not invincible, she can actually die, and after everything she's done, there's very few people who would be willing to help her and would want to see her be removed from the life outright. But she asks for help regardless, swallowing her pride for a desperate chance that maybe, just maybe, somebody will be willing to help her. And somebody does. This someone being Rosa Maria, the very same woman that she betrayed some episodes ago, someone that she even points out herself.
You offered me your friendship, and I betrayed you.
Now, this is important because, prior to this, Riya was in the mentality that Rosa couldn't be trusted. Some of the actions Rosa did definitely gave off that impression. She didn't tell her about the immunity totem she found despite looking for it alongside her, she betrayed her alliance by telling Hunter about their plan to ambush him just to clear her conscience, and she told Riya things when
We can dominate the game together, and you can beat the shit out of us in the semi-final.
which is the last thing you want to tell anyone in a reality TV show, especially someone you just met. So in Riya's mind, she probably figured Rosa was just as worthless as herself, but this action destroys that perception and makes her realize that Rosa really was as nice as she seemed, meaning she betrayed her best friend for nothing. Then they talk and Riya keeps crying, wondering why she helped her. Some people have issues with this scene, thinking that Riya's acting like a crybaby and... Yeah, I kinda agree, but I get the feeling that she's acting like this because the shock of her near-death experience hasn't worn off yet. And if you're wondering why it hasn't worn off yet, or up when she recovered from living in at a cliff, well, which one would you find more shocking? A legitimate accident that puts in peril the life of someone you don't really care about and only see an obstacle to get what you want? Or your own life being put at risk and leaving you all alone, reduced to desperately begging for help after realizing you're invincible and that your life could end at a moment? I think we should cut the woman who nearly drowned some slack, guys. Then we go to the last section of the final challenge, the race towards the finish line against James. Riya kinda relaxes back to an antagonistic role when she and James go head to head for the finish line, but this is understandable. Again, Aiden and James are just obstacles to the $1 million at this point, and she's in it to win it, so making amends with these two isn't going to help her at all. Besides, after being reduced to begging for her life, I'd be more surprised if Riya didn't try to hyper-focus on the prize after she was at her most vulnerable and, let's be honest here, most pathetic. But we all know what happens next. The challenge goes from balls to the walls to balls to the face as Riya gets bullied by Lake's balls, plays of out of context, I'm begging you, and James ultimately crosses the finish line first, making him the winner of Season 2. Having lost $1 million, Riya forces herself to cross the finish line and drop to her knees in defeat. Then Connor approaches her, and Riya does something she hasn't done since he became a villain. Apologizes for how terrible she acted to him, and how he didn't deserve it since he was one of the only people she ever got along with. Connor eventually decides to have her get out of rock bottom, not necessarily forgiving her for what she did, but feeling sympathy for the first break he ever had of the cat that wanted to repay the kindness she gave him. She accepts, hugs him, and that's more or less where we end. So, about that long doozy of an explanation, did we really go through a redemption arc? The truth is, she didn't. What she went through was a realization arc. She realized the low she had stooped to get as far as she did. She realized that the final challenge wasn't holding back and people could get hurt. She realized that she wasn't invincible and that she could have actually died if she wasn't careful. She realized she misused Rose and betrayed a legitimately good person out of paranoia. And finally, she realized she hurt one of her only true friends and how everything she did to get the money was ultimately all for naught. Riya realized what a horrible person she had become and, having hit rock bottom, she had nothing else to do but swallow her pride and apologize to Connor to try and salvage something and not be left with ultimately nothing. And judging by her expression in her All-Stars poster, Riya either managed to crawl out of her rock bottom but decided to adopt her new main persona as her main personality, or Connor failed and Riya was rejected left and right, causing her to decide that if everybody was only going to see her as a villain, she might as well become a villain. But that's just speculation at best. Could Riya get a redemption arc in All-Stars? Probably, but I'm not going to lie, I'd be pretty skeptical if they tried that. Let's be honest here, redemption arcs have become something of a joke in the modern day. They're either handed out like free candy to people who show the slightest remorse for their actions without considering how bad their actions were or if they deserve a second chance in the first place after everything they've done, or they're held hostage from characters who have shown the potential to be redeemed but have the misfortune of being the target of a writer's or someone else's ire, who sometimes even make up excuses as to why they don't deserve redemption just to deny a second chance for a character they don't like. Still, nothing is impossible. Anyway, that's all from me today. What do you guys think of this video? Did you enjoy it? Did you not? Will Riya win All-Stars to make up for her failure in Season 2? Let me know in the comments down below and have a wonderful rest of your day, noon, or night.